Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Thursday, August 13th, and this is your afternoon edition with the top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Thank you for choosing to join me here for the top headlines and everything that's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. The things we've got to catch you up on today include Governor Mike DeWine's press conference happening right now and what he has to say about heart-related issues related to COVID-19, including myocarditis, what that is, and how that impacts athletes. We've got the new numbers for you from the Ohio Department of Health related to COVID-19 and an update on Northeast Ohio counties and where they stand in terms of the level of alert under the public health advisory system. Also, what a CDC doctor is saying about the fall and the simple, straightforward things that people need to do in order to avoid potentially the worst fall ever. We also have more information for you on the Cleveland baseball scandal involving Zach Plesac and Mike Clevenger and what Zach Plesac is saying and what all you have to say about it today, as well as how Cleveland's Little Italy is adjusting because the Feast of Assumption is not happening this weekend. That was supposed to be on Saturday. We will start off with Governor Mike DeWine's updates from his press conference this afternoon. He's been talking about heart-related issues related to COVID-19, specifically myocarditis. To talk about this, he brought in Dr. Kurt Daniels of The Ohio State University, and Dr. Daniels said that about 20% of people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19 have had some sort of cardiac involvement that they've required some sort of medical attention for. Now, there's less information about people who have not been hospitalized related to COVID-19, but something specifically that the doctor talked about was myocarditis. Myocarditis, according to the doctor, is an inflammation of the heart muscle, which is something that has been discovered in athletes. According to Dr. Daniels, myocarditis has been found in 10 to 13% of the athletes he has observed who have tested positive for COVID-19. Myocarditis is one of the causes of sudden cardiac deaths among athletes. Training and competition can make these kinds of patients vulnerable because of elevated heart rates. Dr. Daniels said anyone who's at a high level of exercise could be at risk for myocarditis as an additional complication related to COVID-19. Dr. Daniels said anyone who has early viral COVID-19 symptoms should rest and continue to monitor cardiac symptoms. That includes shortness of breath, palpitations, and when increasing activities, it should be done gradually if you are someone who is dealing with COVID-19. So keep that in mind. We have more information on that on WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Now, with the new updated numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health in Northeast Ohio, we have another county that has moved out of the level 3 red zone. Medina has now been downgraded. It's no longer at the level 3 red alert. But Cuyahoga and Erie counties are still at the level 3 red alert at this time based on the new numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. In terms of COVID-19 daily reported numbers, new cases, new daily reported deaths, and new daily reported hospitalizations are all down from yesterday, according to the latest numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. In the last 24 hours, there have been 1,178 new reported cases of COVID-19. That's down from yesterday when there were just over 1,400 new cases reported of COVID-19. This brings our total number of cases of COVID-19 dating all the way back to March 9th to now 105,426 here in the state of Ohio. Now, the Ohio Department of Health says about 79% of those cases are presumed to be recovered at this time. That number is 83,642. So that means that 21% of those cases are active at this time. Now, our positivity rating has gone up from yesterday. So for all of the COVID-19 tests that we're doing, the percent that have come back positive has gone up since yesterday. That's now at 5.6%. There's a little bit of a delay in these positivity rating data, by the way, but that does put us back above the recommended World Health Organization threshold of 5%. In the last 24 hours, there have been 21 new deaths reported related to COVID-19. That's down from yesterday when there were 26 new deaths reported. And that brings the total number of COVID-19 deaths that have been reported in the state of Ohio to now 3,755. In the last 24 hours, there have been 122 new hospitalizations reported, and currently there are 952 people who are actively hospitalized. This is also down from yesterday. So there are 32 less people in the hospital related to COVID-19 today than there were yesterday. The total number of people who are in the ICU right now, though, went up a little bit. There are 329 people currently in the ICU related to COVID-19 out of those 952 who are hospitalized. And in the last 24 hours, we saw 22 new ICU admissions. That is the same number that we saw yesterday. And when we take a look at the statewide hospital bed occupancy rate, that is at 76%. That is also the same as yesterday. So 24% of our hospital beds in the state of Ohio are available for people who need to be treated for COVID-19 or anything else. Now let's take a look at the U.S. and the global numbers for COVID-19. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. The total number of cases now reported for COVID-19 in the U.S. is 5,226,916, and the total number of deaths related to COVID-19 in the U.S. is now 166,623. That is just under 1,300 new deaths reported in the last 24 hours. Now, comparing our U.S. numbers to the global numbers, the U.S. has about 25% of the known global cases and about 22% of the known global deaths related to COVID-19, while only making up about 4.25% of the world's population. Globally, there are now 20,716,498 reported cases of COVID-19 and 751,269 reported deaths related to COVID-19. So in light of all this information that we continue to be getting about the COVID-19 pandemic, the Centers for Disease Control Director is warning of the possible worst fall in history if COVID-19 safety measures aren't followed. But the safety measures are not revolutionary. These are things that we have been hearing about for a long time. Dr. Robert Redfield says that we need to do 4 simple things to fight COVID-19 and avoid the worst fall in history. We need to wear a mask. We need to keep a safe physical distance. We need to wash our hands and be smart about crowds. That kind of rolls into the keeping the safe physical distance thing. Dr. Redfield said that to properly make this work, 95 to 99% of Americans need to take the proper precautions. This is a higher number than we have seen from other experts. There have been a lot of numbers tossed around, but Dr. Redfield is now saying that 95 to 99% of Americans need to take these precautions in order for us to avoid having the worst fall in history. He said if we do these 4 things, it will bring the outbreak down, but if we don't, as he said last April, this could be the worst fall from a public health perspective that we have ever had. He also added that flu shots will be crucial this year to keep hospitals from being overwhelmed by flu patients and COVID-19 cases when those things all converge together in the fall as the traditional flu season kicks up. Now we have a new update on what's happening with Cleveland baseball, with Zach Plesac sharing his side of the story after breaking COVID-19 safety protocols last weekend in Chicago. Pitcher Plesac posted a video on Instagram that was labeled "Not an apology, not a justification, the truth." Now, the caption of that video said, "Coronavirus is real. Moving forward, it is our job to practice certain safety guidelines without letting it affect our quality of life." Plesac kept referencing in the video CDC COVID-19 guidelines and how they've changed and what's required for him to be safe instead of baseball's rules. Now, the issue that a lot of people have taken with that is that there are at-risk people within the Cleveland organization that Plesac and Clevenger could have potentially exposed to COVID-19 by taking it upon themselves to break curfew and to leave the hotel in Chicago over the weekend. One of those people is Carlos Carrasco, who recently underwent leukemia treatment. Another one of those people who was not in Chicago, but is Cleveland manager Terry Francona, who is, because of his age and because of gastrointestinal issues, also considered high risk for COVID-19 potential exposure. Well, Plesac said that he went out to dinner with friends and then went back to the house of one of those friends, which were all in the same group, and he stressed that he broke curfew and that he wasn't supposed to leave the hotel, but he also kept stressing that the things that he were doing fell under the CDC guidelines, and people did not like that. Here's what a few of you had to say. Amanda Wisda, a WKYC viewer, said that perhaps the best thing for him to do is just apologize and leave it at that, because the longer he keeps running his mouth, the worse it looks. John Prelog also said that he should just follow the rules that his employer laid out for him, because Plesac kept stressing the difference between baseball's rules and the CDC guidelines. Prelog said, if you don't like the rules, then quit and get a real job like the rest of the 99% of people out there. Linda Chandler also agreed with that. She said that she would follow the team rules if she got their salary, and she thinks that 2020 has shown us that we really don't need professional sports. So not a good look for Plesac based on what a lot of you are saying, and you can see those comments on our Facebook page as well if you want to take part in that conversation. Now, as we look to the weekend, Cleveland's Little Italy is adapting now that the COVID-19 pandemic has canceled the Feast of Assumption Festival. That was supposed to be on this Saturday, August 15th. It is primarily a religious celebration, but it's also a big moneymaker for local vendors in the Little Italy neighborhood. It is also Holy Rosary Catholic Church's only annual fundraiser, and it normally attracts 100,000 people to Murray Hill and Mayfield Roads. It's one of the largest events in the city, but it is not happening this year. This is one of the few times since 1898 that the Feast of Assumption will not be celebrated publicly. It was canceled a few other times, including during World War I and World War II. But Little Italy is figuring it out. So here are some things that you need to know. Holy Rosary Catholic Church will be live streaming its solemn mass. It will not be open to the public, and that will start at 10 a.m., and you can watch that on the parish's website, which we do have linked on WKYC.com and in our WKYC app. Also, Guarino's restaurant, that's on Mayfield. They've been around almost as long as the Holy Rosary Catholic Church. They are one of the oldest restaurants in Cleveland. In fact, it opened in 1918, so it survived the Spanish flu and both world wars, and now Guarino's is adjusting again. The owner, Scott Phillips, says that they've got a covered tent in the back patio so that it can still be used on rainy days, and they have spaced out tables to provide for proper physical distancing, and they've been doing drive-through takeout events at local churches, so they're making it work that way. La Dolce Vita has also booked several outside opera nights to attract people to the restaurant's Guardian patio while also keeping them at a safe distance from each other. They'll be having another one in late August. We have their Facebook page linked, so you can check that for updates on when that next event will be. And there are even new businesses that have opened in Little Italy, like the Mount Granita Italian Ice Stand. That's available Thursday through Sunday in the neighborhood. And there's a new one that is set to open. It's called a Home Bistro. It will be a new American cafe. That'll be open by the end of summer. We have a lot more details on what's going on in Little Italy and ways that you can still support the neighborhood, even though the Feast of Assumption, which is a staple here in Cleveland, is not happening this weekend on Saturday, but still ways that you can support Little Italy. And the vendors are asking people to post throwback photos of past Feast of Assumption events so that people can still kind of feel that energy and feel connected in that way. That's it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Thursday, August 13th. I'll see you next at 5 p.m. on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. This is my Friday, so I won't be with you tomorrow, but I will be back on Monday with your 3 News Now updates. Everyone, enjoy your Thursday. Have a great Friday tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday. I'm Stephanie Haney.